I'm here with Matt Negin. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Is it Matt Negin?
Matt Negin, but
Matt
no one gets it right, so don't feel bad.
Okay. And he's actor, comedian, and actually his first time as a filmmaker with this film, actually, Inside Job. Congratulations, welcome to Nice.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you. What's the film about? I know, but for the sake of people that may watch this.
The film is a short, dark comedy about an intern's first day at an office run by conspiracy theorists.
Where the hell did that come from?
I have a twisted brain, and
You're not one of these flat Earth society people, are you?
it's something like that. There's stuff about the truthers. Do you know about the truthers?
No, but I'm. Please tell me more.
They believe that 9/11 was a controlled demolition, that the government propagated 9/11, destroyed the towers as an excuse to get into Iraq. And the reason is Tower 7 fell. It's the only steel skyscraper ever to fall from fire. It was never struck by a plane. It was separate from the actual towers. And they have over 1,000 engineers who have looked at this and say it's impossible for that to have fallen without some type of explosive device.
So I'm assuming, Matt, that you believe that.
I actually don't. It was satirical on the people. I think I'm open to it as a possibility. I don't know that happened. There's some evidence behind it that's interesting. I keep it open as a, hey, crazy things have happened. It's just like the Kubrick faked the moon landing. Was he involved? Now, I don't know, but I'm interested in that.
So I interviewed Stanley Kubrick's cinematographer, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, a couple of years ago. Yeah. One of his cinematographers. Yeah, that was really interesting. I'll tell you about that off camera, but he was amazing. If you're a Kubrick fan.
Kubrick is my favorite director.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for the new Leon Vitali documentary that's just coming out.
Oh, of course, yeah. He was his right-hand man, wasn't he?
Yes, he was an actor in Barry Lyndon.
Yeah, sorry, Larry Smith, the guy that I interviewed, it was some sort of, I say cinematography, he was attached to that side of it, the cinematography side, and he worked on Barry Lyndon, and Eyes Wide Shut. Anyway, we're going off peak still, aren't we?
No, but that's fascinating, because that's more interesting than anything I can say, because
he was a cool guy.
The cinematography in Barry Lyndon was out of this world.
Yeah, because of course it was shot by candlelight. Everyone knows the famous story. I think lenses from NASA or something,
right.
Weren't they? Yeah, hand ground. Well, now of course you can shoot it on an iPhone, can't you? Because it's all moved on so much. But I'll tell you the stories what he told me after, which are really interesting.
Absolutely.
Okay, I get it, but there's got to be a kernel of. I'm assuming that you came across this group of believers, or you knew about this, or how did it all come about that you fed it into this story?
Okay, and it more had to do with the title. I wanted to do the basis, the simplistic version of it, because this reveals more about those groups. I'm sort of giving away a little, but is the boss one of those domineering, over-the-top bosses who exploits his position of power for his own personal benefits, i.e., prostitutes, drugs, and
drink, tick,
and abusing his underlings, basically, with menial tasks and such like that. Not physically, but just psychologically, etc. So. Now, to me, there's an undercurrent of this. You see it in politics. You see it in corporate America. It's rampant in America and all over the world. From Bernie Madoff. You hear stories that left and right. I mean, you go to Clinton.
We should add the word allegedly into this.
Yeah, allegedly.
Okay, allegedly. Yeah.
Dennis Kozlowski, the CEO of Tyco, and he was doing crazy. So it goes on and on with these type of extreme behaviors, and people get in a position of power, they tend to abuse it.
And of course, the Me Too campaign, and a lot of this is blown up now in terms of, quite rightly, it's being exposed. As it should
that would be another. Harvey Weinstein would be a good example. Matt Lauer. It goes on and on. So actually, some of those sexual harassment would fall in there, but.
Kevin Spacey. I mean, it's endless, isn't it? Kind of thing.
But I was trying to satirize that. So the one thing, I'm honest, had difficulty. I mean, the first screening, we had two screenings. One was really great, and the second one was not as good as the first. But the one thing I noticed some people might have a hard time with is seeing do I really think this? In other words, do I really espouse what these people
Well,
are
this
saying?
is why I asked you, because when you were telling me, I was like, oh, you're a believer.
Right,
Well,
and I did get that. So maybe I didn't present it, but I thought it was, the way it's presented, because there's some absurdist elements, that it would be clear that this is, I'm not espousing that behavior, I'm making fun of that behavior.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, and maybe I can work on being more skilled at making sure that the audience knows that.
And as I presented at the beginning, you're a stand-up comedian, but stand-up comedy and writing a script to be comedic, I'm guessing, is radically different.
Absolutely, and also I didn't want this to be a script that was jokey. Okay, this was not a comedy in the regard of.
There's not one line. There's not like
one line and set up
yeah.
punchlines. I could do that type of script. I wanted something different. It's drier humor, subtle. It's reactions. It's not supposed to be that kind of, or like The Office or something like that. Just one line, or Judd Apatow. It's not that. It's a different, darker kind of David. Like to David on those kind of terms.
Oh, okay, but a bit more like to think of a Kubrick film. Dr. Strangelove kind of thing,
Yeah, but darker. But on those, there's parts of, I'm not saying I'm on that level, of course. Kubrick is like a god, but like Full Metal Jacket at the beginning, where the drill sergeant is totally abusing the recruits, and it's somewhat humorous as well as dramatic.
As well as terrifying, actually.
It's terrifying, yeah. But it's also kind of funny in a certain way. So it kind of plays, you don't know how to react exactly. I love stuff like that. That's my favorite tone. I don't know about you, but
no. I mean, my again, we're going off piece here, but Kubrick films, probably Doctor Strangelove is my favourite. It's very few. Brilliant film, and a lot of that, of course, is Kubrick. Is amazing. For me, a lot of it is down to Peter Sellers.
Sure.
Because I don't know, 3 or 4 characters, the cool, chilled out president, the mad ex-Nazi scientist, brilliant, the stuck-up Brit, all this sort of stuff is really fantastic. But and probably in 2001, of course. Of course. And I can't really think of any missteps. He said maybe Eyes Wide Shut wasn't, but other than that, they're all fantastic. And it's funny you mentioned Barry Lyndon. A lot of people haven't seen Barry Lyndon. It's very rarely shown in the UK on TV.
That's actually my favorite Kubrick film.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, because it's funny, because I was at the Ryan O'Neill casting in it, and of course I'm sure it's from a Thackeray novel and all this sort of stuff, and I kind of thought it wouldn't work before I saw it for the first time, because I was thinking, love story, and although he'd done Paper Moon and stuff like that, or maybe, I think he'd done Paper Moon before, but actually he is very good in it.
Paper Moon is someone else, but
but what I'm trying to say is, you see Love Story and think, Love Story, it's Kubrick, this is not going to work, but of course it does, and he's very, very good in it.
Sure.
But an awful lot of people haven't seen it.
It's true. It's one of the lesser known. I think a lot of people also haven't seen the original Lolita he did.
The Killing. I've seen The Killing.
No, the Lolita.
Lolita. That's a bit.
A lot of people haven't seen his.
I think the subject matter, of course, with that as well.
Well, they did a newer one.
Yeah.
But his is brilliant. It's still one.
Peter Sellers again. As a dodgy photographer, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, he plays multiple characters because he's the, the guy that steals away is Lolita, but he's every time he steals her, he's another character, and he's in the opening and the closing. So again, he's acting as different characters to pull up this subterfuge.
Amazing. I mean, I know we should be talking about your film, but I knew we'd get off piece when we started talking about Kubrick. But no, I agree. Brilliant. I mean, probably it's got to be one of the top 3-4 directors ever.
Yes.
Up there with. God dear. Hard to match someone that's around. Werner Herzog, perhaps. Someone like that. But I suppose true auteurs, which is Orson Welles in his early days, maybe. It's all subjective, I know.
Sure.
But I suppose the thing with Kubrick is very few missteps. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yes.
And every one of his films is, like I say, if you go back to something like The Killing or Paths of Glory, again, early-ish film.
Love that. Even the ones he wasn't thrilled about, like Spartacus. Spartacus is a brilliant movie. Yeah, I've watched it so many times, and it still holds up to me, in an amazing way. So.
And he was kind of the only time he was a director for hire, wasn't it? Yes. I think other than that film, everything else was like I just didn't want to know about.
He had his producing partner early, this guy James Harris, when they did The Killing, and Killer's Kiss,
Killer's
and,
Kiss,
and those early. Actually, saw the first one, Fear and Desire, too, which is interesting.
I've not seen
one.
that. I've seen The Killing. That's the racehorse one, isn't it?
Yeah. Before that, he did Fear and Desire.
Right. Okay.
And he disavowed it. He didn't want it even seen, but it's actually pretty strong too.
Is it?
Yeah.
So anyway, as I said, we've gone on. But sorry, getting back to your film. Yeah. So how do you do? I'm quite intrigued by this process of the comedy writing, because is this the first time you tried doing something comedic where it's not a one-liner? Because you've got to, like you say, there's the points in this, the beats are completely different to what you do in any stand-up routine. So how do you kind of rein it in is the wrong way to describe it, but how do you change that to fit what you're trying to do?
I looked at this as almost like a different beast. It used a little bit of the stand-up, the comedy knowledge, but I really almost had to do it. This is a different kind of project.
Yeah.
Then it wasn't like my stand-up really. My stand-up is different. In fact, that's one thing about me that maybe it's my Gemini side, but
I'm a Gemini.
Yeah, so I tend to go in different modes. Like I have a poetry book on Amazon, for example, and that's very different. If someone reads my poetry book,
right? Okay.
In fact, I have a fan that came from London from here, say having read my poetry book, and I think she enjoyed the movie, but the movie was very different than my poetry. So I work in different modes. In other words, stand-up is very different than my poetry, and this movie I wouldn't say is similar to my stand-up. It's just a different. But the one thing, in terms of the humor, I was somewhat figuring it out as we were going along, and I noticed for this, I felt the reaction shots help a lot. Getting the reaction of the other characters to the absurdist behavior
can be fantastic.
And just the facial expressions can tell it all. Without spelling out a joke, you can just get those beats and that pause that you would have on stand-up. You do a version of that with a weird face, or there was, when crazy stuff was going on, I had the two characters, Connie and Don, they start drinking from a flask because they're like, can't believe all this stuff, and they're passing to each other and they're like looking like shocked and stuff, and just little takes like that. Or when the boss character, maybe giving up away, dies, they start crying, and there's one character that plays the creepy janitor, my friend Bob Bell, who does a great job. He has this long hair, almost like a Ben Franklin hair.
Oh, yeah.
So the other guy's petting his hair and hugging him and running his hair through his, like hugging,
I've seen most of them. I haven't seen it all. I've seen, so I know what you're alluding to.
So stuff like that, I thought it's not like a Judd Apatow kind of comedy, but it's like light. To me, it was comedic. It's funny. It's absurd. I like to play on the standards of film, and I think next time I can do it even much better, but play on the conventions, I guess, and what you expect,
And I wonder if, when it comes to these conspiracy theorists, because I've got the impression there's a lot more of them than you would imagine, because of course the internet allows that, doesn't it? I mean, what is this? I mean, can you suggest how popular these theories are in the US, for instance? Is it not necessarily Kubrick's faking the moon landings or 9/11 or all kinds of horrendous things that have happened? I mean, is it quite rife in your experience? Are there quite a large hub of people that actually believe these conspiracy theories?
I think conspiracy theories are on the rise like never before. They're in their prime, almost like their heyday, and it's partly a result of the internet, partly a result of social media and sharing, and partly a result of we live in an age now where it's very difficult to discern what is real and what is fake. And that's actually one thing I was really going for in my film. Everything, you don't know what's real. There's a classic line from it that it was all an inside job. We did an inside job inside an inside job. But I think there's a lot in America like that. You hear the stories with Trump. He's saying, fake news. Then the MSNBC is saying, he's fake. Everything he lies, right? So you hear from both sides that the other one is lying. What doesn't matter. I'm not without taking a side.
Who do you believe?
And some people are on this channel. Some people are on this channel. And there's it's much harder than ever before, I think, to determine what is real and what is illusion. And then with technology too, coming up and replicants and sex robots and things, and so we living in a very strange time with that. And because of that, and because people have been lied to repeatedly, at least in our country, but I think
around
all over the world,
Yeah, worldwide.
conspiracy theories are really in their heyday because people say, well, why wouldn't that be true? These other guys lied about all this other stuff. That could be as true as anything else. How do I know that, as far-fetched as that sounds, that that's not really going on?
Well, I read a report the other day, and there was, the reason I mentioned about the Flat Earth Society is they had their conference recently, and a reporter was there, and he came across, more than one person that said this, they were so entrenched about their views, even though they said, well, just look at the moon with the curved shadow on it, you know, they wouldn't believe. Someone so entrenched said, the only way you can prove to me the Earth is a globe is I have to go up in a rocket. Other than that, you will never convince me. So that gives you a strength of opinion.
Well, that's a little extreme, but...
Well, no, but it's true. It's absolutely true. There were people there that would say, I will not believe it unless you... One guy was actually trying to develop his own rocket to go and check it. So it doesn't matter what empirical evidence you put in front of these people, they will not believe it. I'm not a flat earth.
I understand that, okay, then it becomes the other side where you're just a wacko sitting in your basement with a Confederate flag wrapped around you and a gun in your pants, and you know, with two teeth.
There's a joke there.
Yeah, so that's the other side of you know, you go too far off the deep end, and you're not even grounded in any reality. Like, is this a poster, or am I looking at
a hologram?
Yeah, exactly. So it can go too far too. I see your point.
Brilliant. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Great fun. Thank you.